In the affluent suburbs of Brookhaven, nestled behind manicured hedges and tall oak trees, stood the Grant residence, a two-story white brick home with blue shutters and an immaculate lawn. To the world, Jonathan Grant and his wife, Vanessa, were the epitome of suburban success. Jonathan, a financial advisor with a reputable firm, and Vanessa, a former model turned interior designer, were the couple everyone envied. They had charm, wealth, and what looked like a perfect marriage. But appearances, as they say, are deceiving. Jonathan had always adored Vanessa, perhaps too much. From the day they met at a charity gala, he'd been captivated. She had a presence that drew people in, a laugh that turned heads, and eyes that held 1,000 secrets. Jonathan had built a life around her, lavish vacations, a custom-designed home, even a golden retriever named Bear. He thought he had it all. But slowly, things began to crack. It started with distance. Vanessa was often distracted, taking late-night calls in hushed tones, disappearing for client meetings that never appeared on her calendar. Jonathan chalked it up to stress. He believed in her, trusted her. Until the evidence began to mount. One evening, Jonathan returned home early from a client meeting and found Vanessa in the kitchen. She was dressed immaculately, makeup fresh, but something was off. She looked startled to see him. On the counter sat a single wine glass, lipstick stained, and 2 plates in the sink. His heart sank, but he said nothing. That night, he began his silent investigation. The discovery. Jonathan installed discreet surveillance cameras around the house, including one in the garage and another in the guest room, where he suspected the encounters took place. And then, it happened. A week later, the footage confirmed his worst fear. Vanessa wasn't just cheating, she was cheating with his best friend, Adam. Adam and Jonathan had been close since college. Adam had stood beside him at the altar. They played golf every Sunday, celebrated birthdays, and shared business referrals. The betrayal cut deeper than Jonathan could fathom. The next few days were a blur. Jonathan couldn't sleep. He watched the footage over and over, replaying each laugh, each touch, each lie. But instead of rage, something else grew inside him, resolve. He wouldn't confront them, not yet. He would make them pay. He began journaling his emotions every night, writing down the pain, the confusion, the fire of betrayal. He found it cathartic. The journal eventually turned into a strategy book. Every detail, every financial move, every social shift, they were all documented. He even drew timelines, tracking their behaviors and patterns. Jonathan began by gathering every bit of information. He hired a private investigator to follow Adam and Vanessa. He collected phone records, messages, bank transactions. Then, he crafted a plan worthy of the betrayal. He began withdrawing money, carefully and quietly, moving it into offshore accounts. He removed Vanessa's name from their joint assets, started the paperwork for the divorce, and rewrote his will. All the while, he played the loving husband. He even threw a surprise anniversary party for Vanessa, inviting friends, family, and Adam. The night of the party, everything was perfect. Laughter echoed through the halls, glasses clinked, and Vanessa beamed. Then Jonathan took the stage. He raised a toast, smiled at Vanessa, and said, "To the love of my life, the woman who taught me that betrayal is not the end, but the beginning." A screen behind him lit up. Footage began to play. Gasps echoed across the room. Vanessa's smile vanished. Adam's face drained of color. And Jonathan? He simply stepped down, handed Vanessa a white envelope, and walked out. The envelope contained divorce papers, evidence of the affair, and a financial statement that showed Vanessa would receive nothing. Thanks to a prenup she had never read carefully, one that voided spousal support in the case of infidelity, she was left with only her personal belongings. Adam's firm dropped him. His wife, yes, he had one too, filed for divorce the same week. Jonathan, meanwhile, disappeared from Brookhaven. Months later, whispers emerged of a man who'd started a new life in Colorado, working remotely, traveling often, and finally, smiling again. He bought a cabin in Aspen, surrounded by pines and serenity. He picked up photography, capturing nature's beauty. He learned how to ski, how to fish, how to be alone and content. He began speaking at conferences about financial recovery and emotional betrayal, helping others navigate the storm he had once drowned in. His story went viral on social media. A blog he casually started turned into a best-selling memoir. As for Vanessa, she stayed in the town that once adored her, now reduced to whispers and stares. The world she once controlled slipped through her fingers. Sometimes, betrayal is not answered with anger, but with silence, strategy, and the strength to walk away holding your dignity. She thought she'd broken him, but he was only getting started.